Welcome on my first step ever. I'm excited that we have crossed the mark of 150 episodes, which means there are several amazing stories waiting just out there to be told so that they can be shared and so that each one of us knows that there are many first steps taken in this world around, but the hardest one is the first step. And how does one really go through it is all that we discuss over here so you can build your conviction and you can take those steps towards your goals. Now, there are very, very interesting stories across the globe. Some find their calling or, the purpose or whatever you call or the liking very late in life. Some know it from the very beginning. And some, they find it around, maybe somewhere down the road. And then they find another amazing passion. And that's an amazing story because us humans, we are like, I would say, like water. And it's interesting if you are like that and you evolve and then you let yourself evolve, you open yourself up to for new adventures, new journeys, and you never know that what you really discover and uncover about your own self. And today's episode is just about that, letting yourself free, letting yourself be open to the opportunities that coming your way, because then only you can find a hidden gem within you. So please join me in welcoming all the way from amazing country, my country, India, Dr. Sushma Mahajan. Dr. Sushma, welcome on my first step ever. It's completely my honor. I'm going to give a really quick intro of who you are, a peep into who you are at this point in time, and then we will uncover that what it really took for you to become the person that you are today. So meet Dr. Sushma Mahajan, the head of radiology at Bhagwan Mahavir Cancer Hospital in Jaipur, India, who found her vibrant passion for watercolor art during the pandemic. Wow, this is exciting, totally contrasting. Her stunning wildlife, architectural paintings, and cityscapes have quickly become a commercial success, captivating audiences with their emotional resonance and technical brilliance. An avid traveler, Dr. Mahajan draws inspiration from nature and ancient architecture, infusing her art with beauty and energy of the world. Balancing her medical career with her artistic pursuits, she continues to inspire with her resilience and creativity. So join us as we dive into Dr. Sushma's journey from radiology lab to the vibrant world of watercolor art. Wow, this is super interesting. I mean, so far people just thought, that it is such a difficult task being a doctor because you're always on call. There is no holiday that's set for you and you have such a stressful life. That's what we generally kind of get to know, and that's true because I also know a few doctors in my own family. And this is exciting that you have made way for something really vibrant in your life. So, Sushma, let's trace a few steps back into your early childhood because I think that's where a lot of gem lies. So, what was the mindset of the people that you were growing up with? What was it all about while you were growing up?
Born in a basically city of Punjab in North India. So my father, he was in government service. So I feel my role model is my father because he was a very disciplined man. So he used to tell us early to bed and early to rise, and he used to follow everything about discipline. And I think I learned discipline from him. Till date, I am basically sleeping early and getting up early in the morning, right? So I just learned discipline, and he was ahead of his time. He felt that the girls should be independent financially, and he wanted me to become a
Lovely.
doctor because it is always a good profession for a girl to become a doctor. So he encouraged me for hard work. He told me if you work hard, you'll be successful in life. So that's how he encouraged me that go for it. So he was always motivating me. You can do better. You can do better. So my father, he was a role model because he gave me the values of discipline, then hard work, which is very important for any successful career, right? Then, as he was in a government job, he was getting transferred every 4 to 5 years. So
Wow.
we used to move to new cities every 4 to 5 years, new cities, new home, new schools, new friends. Initially, 1 month or two, basically, we used to feel some difficulties. Definitely, you have to make adjustments because it is very difficult to make new friends, also, right? But then after 1 or 2 months, we felt very comfortable. I think that initial phase in my childhood, it has made me open to change.
Wow.
I'm not averse to change. I can adapt to anything because I know it can be easily done in case you make an effort for that. So my childhood was like very comfortable without any hardship, but I learned the values of which are very important values: discipline, hard work, and adaptable to change. I think these are very crucial values to succeed in life. I learned in my child.
Thank you for sharing that, Sushma, with such a with all your honesty, and I'm glad that you had a really prosperous childhood, which is very very important. Uh, I'm going to ask a few questions over here because I feel while we are growing up, like a lot of us do kind of, we want to listen to our parents because we know that they have the best in our interest. But sometimes because we are growing up around that time, we are also very rebellious in our heart and mind. I wanted to first ask, were you someone like that? And secondly, it all seems sounds very fun, that, oh, traveling to new cities, and every now and then you're meeting new people. But at that certain age, I think it's very challenging after a certain age to kind of start, all over again with friendships, with relationships, with a new place. Did you face any difficulty back then in that area? You might have not, and maybe we could learn something from you. So please feel free to share what was that, while you were growing up.
Definitely, when you move to a new place, it's very difficult to make new friends because the friends, the girls at that age, they are very particular about their friendships. Once you move to a new school, they're already having friendship for going on for 10 years, 12 years, or 5 years. They don't want to let you in. But then I feel with basically I had very mild nature, so I am like I don't know. I am very happy-go-lucky person. I am not interfering. I am mild by the personality. So I used to make friends after 1 or 2 months. And to be frank, actually, I enjoyed moving to new places. I used to love my new homes, new houses, and new schools. It was always adventurous for me. So I am basically I loved it. To be frank, I never missed anything regarding my last house or home. I always enjoyed moving to a new place.
This is really really interesting to hear that, because we also get a different perspective as well of the same situation, which we have also discussed that in this podcast with our earlier guest speakers as well. So it's nice to see a different side of things, and it also kind of tells us that everyone who's listening to us right now, that to each their own. You kind of really need to understand what sort of a personality you have, what you really like, and if you're in a situation which is something that you really don't like, probably you can always find one or two things that you really really like or you resonate with, and just latch on to that. Just hop on, just jump onto those one or two things that is really good in that situation, and things can follow from there. Because once you start feeling better about things around you, I think you get into the elements, and it's easier for you to make way for change. So thank you so much, Shushma, for sharing that with us. And it's great to know that you have this amazing happy go lucky personality, where I feel like maybe you're more like water. That's where it comes from, I feel. And it's quite interesting that I can see that connection while I just started off saying that, while at the very beginning of the episode, and now I can see that how it flows for you. So from there, Sushma, when was the point when so you had in your head that your father shared his wish and his vision that how about you become a doctor, and you said something very very amazing, that your father believed that a woman should be obviously always financially independent, which is such a good, I would say, thought process. And it is amazing that you were brought up in that kind of an environment. So while you were growing up, let's say in your teens, late teens, you were about to transition into the uni. How were things around that time? Like, were you still stuck to oh, now I want to become a doctor, or there was some sort of distraction? Because while you're growing up, there's so many different options that you're presented with. You meet so many new people, you get exposed to so many different avenues, to kind of take your career ahead. Was it the same for you? And if not, how did you still conquer that inner turmoil, if you had something around that time?
If you were studious, if you were good in academics, medical and non-medical, these were the two choices for students, right? So I was good in studying, especially in science and biology. My father, he thought that I should go for medical. I was not very clear till my 11th that what I wanted to become in my life. But I think he was the right person to guide me because I had no idea, no clue. And my friends, if they were intelligent or they were studious, they were going for medical or non-medical knowledge. So it was like it was a normal thing for you to do. So these days there are so many opportunities, there are so many avenues. At that time, it was only medical or non-medical in case you are good enough in studies. So I think out of non-medical and medical, I chose medical because my sister is also a doctor. So it was easy for me to follow her footsteps that she is a doctor, I am going to become doctor.
Amazing. I think the less choices, the less
Right?
options saved all of our parents. I felt.
That is why today's children, they are so confused because they are finding it difficult to choose what to do in life.
I do agree with you too, for definitely on certain levels. I think for people who know, they're very clear what they want to do, great. But I think for the ones who are not, there's so many options out there that you really don't come to understand that what should you really go ahead with. But coming,
Taking Even after taking up something, they are confused still. After 2 years, again they think I have to leave this and join something other because they are still confused after joining something. So because of so many choices, you're always confused.
yes, I can relate with that. I let me say this, so but all good. The ones who are listening to us, the ones who are there, it's completely fine, because this is what this episode is all about. Once you go ahead with us in this journey, you'll understand that it's fine to begin with something, and down the line, if you really kind of connect with your passion or what you align with, or maybe you discover something really innate about you that you had no idea about, you can still pursue it. So hang on, be with us on this journey. And I would like to say that, Sushma, coming back to your story, so you are here, you did your medical, you had all the encouragement, you had some really good guidance, mentorship, which is extremely important. So once you were done with your medical life, I mean the study life, which is another challenge. I feel it's very, very challenging from what I see from the outside world, what I've seen. How was your let's say the first decade of being in that profession? Did you ever in that journey regret that, or you felt, this is extremely tough, or maybe this is not for you? Or have you ever had a challenging situation along the way in the first decade of your profession?
I told you I was not very clear what I wanted to become, but once I joined my medical studies, then there was no doubt. I joined medical studies, then I was fully into it. I started enjoying it because I'm a kind of person that if I accept something, then I go fully deep into it. Basically, I don't regret that because there is no point regretting. And I think medical profession is a very satisfying profession. Once you get the hang of it, definitely it is difficult because the studies are very vast. You can't even complete that. But still, once you start enjoying medical profession, there is nothing like it because at the end of the day, it gives you satisfaction because you are dealing with patients and you're able to help them. So that is very satisfying. So I never had that difficulty. Uh, I was enjoying my profession, and considering that I'm a radiologist, I'm having a very comfortable timing because as a person, I'm very balanced. I feel that uh, I should have balanced family and professional life. So I made a conscious decision that I'll be working this time. I'm working 9 to 5. I'm not doing emergencies. I'm not doing Sundays. So I can devote my time to my family also. So I am having a balance. So that is why I never had any basically conflict in my mind that I am doing something which could have been done better. So I had that choice made in early in my career that I'll be doing this much time, 9 to 5. That is my strategy for this. So I'm able to balance both.
That's really great, Sushma. What I hear from you is a lot of clarity in your head, very, I would say, great decision making, and having focus of how or what you want your professional life and personal life to look like. So I think it's a great point for me to ask this question, that if you can share with our listeners right now, if they are in that journey of kind of visualizing their career ahead, they have something in their mind but they're not very sure how to picture things out or lay down the plan. With your experience in your first decade, early days of your career, what would be the top three learnings or the tips that you would give them that will help them with having the clarity and actually creating that plan to go ahead with? How would they come to know that this is what they like, and this is how they should be going forward, at least to begin with?
I think, as you're saying, the first 10 years or first decade is the most difficult one because you are settling in a new profession and simultaneously you are starting a family life, you are having children. So basically, you end up multitasking because you are doing family, profession, and basically even children. So that is the most tough phase. So you need to make a choice. What I'm going to do. Basically, you can't compromise on certain things. You should be very clear that you can't compromise on your family or your children. So initial phase, especially for ladies who are basically working, they have to make a clear choice that for this period of time, I'm going to make a compromise on this. Like I was working in initial 10 years, I was working part time because you can't be working full time and you can't leave your children at home and go to the hospital full time. Many people do that because they have some problems, responsibilities, but I had very good help at home. So I could manage with my being a part timer. So I made a very clear, conscious choice that I'll be doing a part time till my children are in school going age. So that was how basically I handled that pressure. I was continuing my medical profession, no compromise on that. I was not sitting at home, then I'll do after 5 years. No, I was doing it continuously. But I was able to do justice to my family and my children also because that is the most important part of your life because that is your most precious part of your life. You can't compromise on that.
Interesting. So, Dr. Sushma, if I can, summarize the takeaways that I had, that if you are, first of all, that you one needs to know that your first decade, which is your twenties, it's going to be the most interesting, adventurous, and wholesome time of your life for everyone who's listening to us. And if you're not very clear, so think from the other perspective of what would you like your, what are the things that you feel are going to be a responsibility if you're going to have that in the next 2 3 years. If you're not going to have any responsibilities, which is also the case, what would you like to have in your personal life? If you would like to get married, and if you would not like to get married, what is your life going to look like apart from the professional life if you're not clear over there? So maybe coming from the other perspective of life, that what are going to be certain things, and then planning out, okay, let me figure out things maybe from this perspective. The second thing is, once you have a plan, just start working on it. I really like one thing that you mentioned, Sushma, that you did not completely lose the side of being a professional that you really are, because you've really worked hard for it, and you knew your worth, and you still, in whatever time that you could, you still kept working. And very, very um, aptly, appropriately mentioned over here, that everyone's situation is different, and if it demands for you to work, you do go and work. And I think you also get a joy in doing that for your own family, because you're doing it for a certain purpose. So that's amazing. Look things from different perspective. If one perspective doesn't really work, if one aspect of your life is not clear, look from other aspects of your life, have a plan, continuously keep doing what you really are good at. Even if you feel it's not the best thing, you never know where things lead to. So, Sushma, now let's see where things led for you from here. Please take us through the time when you started. How did you chance upon that artistic side in you? We would love to hear that.
I think that I believe that life has a very beautiful way of guiding us to new horizons, right? As you are saying, this artistic journey it was never planned. You can call it serendipity of life. It was basically a chance discovery because in 2020, my daughter, she was appearing for her board exams, 12 board exams. She had fine arts as her subject. She was appearing for medical entrance. So she had fine arts as her subject, in which basically she was supposed to make a watercolor poster as a project. So she told me, Mama, I have taken this fine arts, but I don't know anything about fine arts, so you have to guide me. So to guide me, basically, I watched many YouTube videos. So I was having the supplies at home, and I was practicing how to make a watercolor poster.
This is incredible story.
So fun. I was enjoying and having good time because poster is something which is very simple thing, right? But I was enjoying that. So she finished her exams in second week of March. I think 12th or 13th March she finished her exams, and 22nd in India basically COVID lockdown happened after 10 days, and suddenly my hospital was closed for 2 months, and social life was nil. Nobody was going out of their house, right? So I had ample time in my hands, and luckily the watercolor supplies were at home. I had paper and pigments, everything with me. So I thought, why not pass time with watercolors? So that's how I started. It was never planned. I did not want to become a painter. I never thought or imagined myself to be a painter. That's how it started because I was thinking of passing my time during COVID time. So that's how it started.
This is very, very interesting, Sushma, I must say. I mean, one could never really think about the way it all started for you. You wanted to kind of help your daughter, and you started, learning a bit more about it, and then it just made its way into your life, which is very interesting. I would love to know that from here, how did the thought of actually making it a sort of a profession came into your mind, your heart, and were you a bit nervous or scared that should I not at this point in time, or you were like, why not, like I really want to do it? So can you please take us through your thought process, and what were the first steps that you took to actually get started as a professional artist?
As I told you, it just started as a hobby, how to pass time in basically COVID time. And then you have to understand few things about me, that I'm basically intrinsically optimistic person. I'm
We
just
have come to know that by now.
and I'm hardworking, right? And the best quality about me, which I feel I give credit to myself, that I'm not harsh with myself. I don't treat myself harshly. That how can I not do this? I treat myself very gently. So when I started this watercolors, so obviously when you start something, you feel that there should be some end product. I should be able to have few paintings which I could hang on the walls of my home. That is basically justify na, that I'm doing something. I'll have some end product. So I gave myself 3 months time. That I'll in 3 months time I'll try, and I'll be able to have 3 or 4 paintings which could be in my home, and I'll proudly declare that these are my paintings. That was my first ambition. So I gave myself 3 months time. But as you know, the transitioning from a stethoscope to a paintbrush is not very easy. It is full of challenges. And considering that I took watercolors as a beginner, as a non-artistic person, basically, I had no idea about the mediums. I thought watercolors are the easiest medium. So I'll just this, and then I'll shift to oils after, in case I pick up something, right? It's only later I realized that it is a most difficult medium to handle, right? To control. But then I had only watercolors at home. So that's how my journey started. I gave myself 3 months time that I'll do it. And I had color supplies at home, and I started doing it. Results were not good, to be frank. Watercolor is not easy. So I was doing it. I was doing small paintings, finishing every 2 days. I was finishing. My children, they were saying, "Mama, it is coming out good," because obviously they'll praise. Now they are your children, right? So I was like very optimistic that this painting is looking better than the last one, and this is looking better than this one. So I was praising myself. I was being gentle with myself. But to be frank, after 3 months, I was still not sure that I can hang any of the painting on my wall. So then I thought I had given myself 3 months time. But then I thought, no, I have spent 3 months of my life on this thing. So I have to justify that at least I need to have few paintings on my wall. So I kept on going because I'm a self-taught artist. Because there was no one to help me at that time. So I had lots of struggle, but I realized that whatever I was seeing on a YouTube video, the result was not coming on my paper. So initially, what was happening in March, the lockdown happened. In May, Amazon opened up, online shopping started. So at that time, I ordered a very good quality watercolor paper and pigments. I think they were delivered within a week time. So once I started painting on those papers with those pigments, suddenly the results were drastically changed. I was
Amazing.
from this level to this level. The quality of the things, it is so important in case of watercolors. So suddenly I realized that my paintings have come from this level to this level. And within 2, 3 months, because now I was getting good results, I kept on painting. So after 6 months, I think I had 15, 20 paintings, which could be very well hanged on my walls. But I got hooked to the watercolors. Because once you become friendly with watercolors, now there is nothing like it. You have fun. So I was in that phase that I was enjoying, and COVID was still continuing. So I kept on painting. I kept on painting, and I think by the end of 1 year, that is March 2021, I had 100 plus painting in my collection. So I
This
think
is
even
exciting.
was amazed that she is crazy. She has gone into a frenzy. She is painting non-stop. And my started basically I was doing 9 to 5, but then I was putting 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. So I had gone
It's
into
like a
frenzy.
therapy.
I totally became addicted to that. So after 1 year, I had 100 paintings in my collection. So then suddenly, once you have something and the result was looking good, then you feel like showcasing it to some people, na? Because you can't just keep on showing it to your family and say it's very good, it's very good. So that's how the idea of exhibition came. We consulted an artist friend. He told me, "Ma'am, please showcase these paintings. The people will come and they will give you feedback which part is good, the which genre is good." So that's how my first exhibition happened in March 21. So that's my first exhibition.
Wow. This is a beautiful story, Sushma. Beautiful story. I actually got fixated on two things from what you mentioned. First of all, kudos to you for keep going, like you kept going on. Um, you were very you always have, I think, these goals, which is important. It's very, that's what I'm saying, that's what we discuss over here. Having conviction is the first thing, and then having goals, actionable goals, your plan is a second thing. You need to have some sort of timeline, specific goals, then assess your progress, and then take a decision where you want to go from there. One thing, the first thing that I wanted to kind of mention it to my listeners who are still glued to us right now is that, did you hear that when Sushma said that I am not harsh to myself? Now, my friends, that is a very big learning for all of us, especially the ones who are just starting off with their journey. Yes, we need to be critical of our own, work. We need to keep us moving on, but not to the point that we break our own, belief in ourselves, the conviction in ourselves that we can do it. Having the belief, the confidence is very, very important, and knowing that where you do not need to be harsh with yourself is also very important. Second thing that you mentioned, Shushma, was, I like this thing, that you just kept going on, and you mentioned that the result was not what you were looking for, and then you change certain aspects of,
Yes.
the entire process, and then you had an amazing result. Which, if I can actually take away, if we take away, if I generalize this thing for anyone who's listening to us, that means that maybe you are actually good at this thing. Maybe you're not at the right place, maybe it's not the right time, maybe it's not with the right people, maybe you need someone's guidance. So if you really like something, if you're really motivated for something, I think Sushma kept going on because she was really, I think you were really pulled towards it. You found something in that you just kept going on, you just couldn't leave it. And then you started, trying out different things. So my friends who are listening to us or watching us right now, if you really, are stuck to something, you can't really, leave it, but it's not working out, probably try out different ways of, making that thing happen. So I think these are two amazing learnings for me. Great to know that now you are coming full out as an artist, and you have your own exhibitions, which is interesting, and I think it's going to happen soon for you. You already had a couple of them in the past, I believe. And
I have 8 exhibitions till now. I have done 5 solo and 3 group, and now my ninth exhibition is coming in first week of August.
this is lovely. Thank you so much, Sushma, for, I would say, being on this podcast, taking us through your entire journey in such a short amount of time. And I could see that you are definitely a balanced person. You have clarity. You go with the flow, but the flow that you have planned, you make it's like, I think it's all about making life simple. And I feel like we're making life difficult at this point in time. All of us, I feel, not all of us who was listening, but I can maybe include myself. I feel like there's so many options out there, there's so many things to do. We are looking at so many people, and over here, the reason that we have people coming in and sharing their stories, it's not about to compare ourselves with where they have reached or what they have done. It's about understanding that there's so many people who are doing so many different things, and the reason that they are good at what they're doing is because they are doing what aligns with them. So find your own alignment and just keep working on that, and you will definitely reach somewhere. So thank you so much, Sushma, for being on this episode. I would love to ask you if you would like to maybe mention something before we wrap up for today. Please feel free to do that.
Yeah, basically, I feel that God has been very kind to me that I am able to manage 2 demanding careers. But I think that is a fallacy that you can only do one thing. In case you want to pursue your passion as well as your career, you can always do that. Just need to prioritize, because discipline makes you will help you in that. Because if you are passionate about something, don't let it go, because that is a God sent opportunity for you. Because after I started painting, my life has been so enriched. I am feeling that I am the happiest person on this earth, because you feel your life has a purpose now. And especially when you people, they endorse your art, they comment on your art, and in a very good way, you feel that yes, I was made for this. But I don't want to compromise on my medical profession also. I am doing it full time, but I am pursuing my passion. you can do both. I'm very sure in case you want to do it, you can do both.
I love this. I love this because I think this is a different perspective that we have on the podcast coming through is a lot of times people leave what they're doing so they can pursue what they really want, which is also great because it works for certain people. Some people are just not able to find what they really want to do. I think it's such a big, it's just a word, everywhere, which is spread that your purpose, your purpose, your purpose. And a lot of us, we know that what we are good at, but we don't have the clarity. And then what we are actually doing, we don't even pay attention to that, what we're doing at present, because what you have is also really good, and the reason that you have it because you're good at it. So we're not able to concentrate on that. And then there is another aspect where you might find the purpose somewhere down the line. You don't really have to beat yourself up for that. And I love that, Sushma, that you're here on this podcast and we can share this a different side of story for people, that keep working on what you're doing. Career could be different and passion could be different as well. It doesn't always is the same, but it is your choice of how and what you make out of it. So build that conviction in what you want to do and plan out the life that you want to, the way that you want it to happen. So thank you, Sushma, for being on my first step ever. It is such a pleasure to speak to a doctor come turned into an amazing artist. I always request our guest speakers to leave our listeners with a quote or a saying that they really resonate with.
Yeah, the one quote which is my favorite now, just considering that my journey, it is by Nelson Mandela. So it says that there is no point in settling for life that is less than the one you are capable of living. There is no passion in playing small, right? So you should basically, it is a profound thought. You should live up to your potential, then your life is going to be wonderful. Just try that.
Amazing. So that was Dr. Sushma Mahajan on my first step ever. I would leave links and all about her in the show notes if you want to follow her, read her journey, if you want to follow her work, something that you have really caught on to and have stuck with you. So thank you so much again, Dr. Sushma, for being on the first step ever once again. Yes, and I like to say to my listeners that I always say that start believing in yourself and keep believing in yourselves. Sometimes even this becomes difficult to for my own self to kind of follow, but I think that's the reality of life, that you need to keep giving yourself that break. And I think one amazing thing that Dr. Sushma said today: don't be harsh on yourself. Be a little gentle when it's required. So again, I would like to emphasize: start believing in yourself and keep believing in yourself.